Today we'll be continuing our Resort Spotlight series with the best monorail resort in our opinion, and that's Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. Hello and welcome to the Let's Go to Disney podcast. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Lucy.
Today is Wednesday, May 7th, and you're listening to episode 87, Resort Spotlight, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. Before we get into today's main topic, here's what's going on in the parks right now. We don't usually have much news when we record this early in the week, but Disney has been busy these last couple of days, so let's get into it. So yesterday, Disney announced the name of the Pirates of the Caribbean themed tavern coming to Magic Kingdom later this year. That's something we already knew. But the name is going to be the Beak and Barrel. So they shared a few more interesting details. So the story of the tavern is going to feature Captain Meridian, for short Mary, Goldwyn, and her first mate and quartermaster will be Rummy, who's a green parrot. So based on the concept art, we assume that it's going to be like a full-blown animatronic that's going to like speak and everything. Mm-hmm. And Disney did say that it was inspired by the original Barker bird that was at the entrance of Pirates of the Caribbean way back when, and that has since, been removed.
Gone away.
But now, he's making a return in the form of, this Rummy character at the new tavern, which is kind of cool. The main space here is going to be named The Mess, and it'll feature long tables, and there's going to be a ton of like little Easter eggs and decor in the space that, are just going to add to the overall atmosphere. And there's going to be a second area named the Captain's Quarters with booths and tables for parties of like 2 and 4. This is, I'm assuming, based on looking at the concept art, it looks like, parties of 2 and 4 just sitting at tables. And there are children in the concept art as well. So
that's a bonus.
Yeah, unlike GO82, who's adults only, I think this is going to be family friendly.
Which is great.
Yeah. And the Disney Parks blog post also says that it's going to open later this year. No official opening date was shared, but again, we should hear something in the coming weeks or months, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
And, when we first heard about this, we thought, cool, a name for the tavern. That's nice, right? It's kind of fun news. But Disney dropped a bombshell earlier today. So Disney is officially opening a 7th resort destination in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. Okay, so yeah, that's like huge news.
Huge news, absolutely. So the Walt Disney Company and a company named Morale, which already operates immersive destinations and experiences in the Abu Dhabi area, reached an agreement to create a brand new Disney park. The resort will be waterfront on Yas Island, and Disney said we can expect the park to blend classic Disney stories and the culture of Abu Dhabi. Much like Disney did with the Oriental Land Company in Tokyo, Morale will develop and build the resort, but Imagineers will head the creative design and be in charge of the operational oversight for the duration of the development, which I think is great that they allow other companies to bring the culture in.
Yeah, no, for sure.
While still maintaining the Disney with the Imagineers.
Exactly. Yeah. The Imagineers are still, kind of like the
forefront of it all.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because they've been at it for, decades and they'd always hit it out of the park. So why wouldn't
Absolutely.
it be? Yeah.
So Josh D'Amaro, the chairman of Disney Experiences, said, quote, "This groundbreaking resort destination represents a new frontier in theme park development. Our resort in Abu Dhabi will be the most advanced and interactive destination in our portfolio. The location of our park is incredibly unique, anchored by a beautiful waterfront, which will allow us to tell our stories in completely new ways. The project will reach guests in a whole new part of the world, welcoming more families to experience Disney than ever before. Ultimately, it will be a celebration of what's possible when creativity and progress come together." End quote.
Yeah, no, it's a long quote, but it's, we wanted to include it because, well, one, Josh D'Amaro is so well-spoken.
He is very well-spoken.
I really like the individual man. Like he's just, anytime he's, presenting on Disney, it's just.
You listen.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just captivating.
He commands that presence, which is awesome. And I love that about him. But yeah, it's just, it captures, what we're expecting to see. It's going to be cutting edge. It's going to be, like everything that's like, and by the way, like Abu Dhabi is, I think, a 50-minute drive from Dubai. I didn't know that. I read that. But like, how Dubai is just like, that's the image you get when you think of,
that's the Emerald City for most people.
Yeah, it's like modern living. And the fact that it's going to be 50 minutes away from that is
literally
impressive.
Fly into Dubai, off to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, exactly. And, I never imagined I would want to travel there. Not because it doesn't look cool, just because it's super expensive and there's like other things on our list. But if there's going to be a Disney park there, well,
we probably be making our way there at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
So Disney shared a 2-minute and 30-second video on YouTube showcasing where the park will be located and showed some of the concept art already created for the project, and it looks wild. They said that the resort will have Disney entertainment, accommodations, so at least one resort hotel, dining, and retail. It's not a leap to think that there's going to be a whole dining and shopping district. Bob Iger dropped his classic line that the park will be authentically Disney and then distinctly Emirati. It's a short video, but we strongly recommend you check it out. They didn't say when they expect to break ground or a timeline for completion, but we'll definitely be monitoring this very closely and we'll share all the details when we know more.
Yeah, exactly. I have to think that it's on like a pretty wide time scale. Like it's going to be like, probably close to a decade by the time we see that like fully open. But it's exciting nonetheless.
Absolutely.
And in much smaller news, but it's exciting for us, Disney shared a look at the annual pass holder magnet that's going to be available starting on May 14th. It'll be Maleficent themed, which is pretty cool. It's lining up with our trip, so we're happy we're going to be able to collect another one.
Mm-hmm.
So like we said in our opening there, we're recording way earlier in the week than we normally do. We usually record on Sundays and release 2 days later on Tuesdays, but today is Wednesday, and this episode won't air for another 6 days. And if you've been listening, you know we're leaving for Disney bright and early Saturday morning, so we wanted to get this episode recorded and ready to go essentially for next week while we're gone.
Yeah, our countdown is down to 3 sleeps and 2 days here. Like Oliver said, we fly out of Regina at 6 a.m. Saturday morning, so we are going to be up really early. The Regina airport is actually really small, so we don't need to be there super early. We're going to aim to be there for around 4:30 or so, which should give us plenty of time. My dad has graciously offered to get up at the butt crack of dawn.
I know, and I feel bad because it's so early. Yeah.
To drive us, but it's probably easier for them in that sense anyway. So he doesn't mind.
And the Tim Hortons, which is, for
our coffee.
Yeah, our Canadian friends will know exactly what it is. But yeah, for American friends, it's just a coffee shop. It's open super early at the Regina airport. So we'll grab a coffee and take the flight.
Be all excited. It's, you know what, that time of morning when you're that excited, it doesn't even seem that early.
Exactly.
So we have a 2.5 hour layover in Calgary before our flight directly to Orlando at that point. We'll grab some breakfast on the U.S. side once we've cleared customs.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's just about a 5-hour flight from Calgary to Orlando. So we're going to be, ready to stretch our legs by the time we land. But we're going to be at Disney, right? So we'll be excited for that. We're likely going to grab some dinner at either Caribbean Beach after we've checked in, or maybe we'll eat at the Riviera, just kind of walk over there. We'll play that by ear depending on like how everyone's feeling. And, in the last couple of days here, we were starting to run out of time to get everything done with the kids, like baseball season in full swing and everything else. We both took the day off on Friday to make sure that we're ready to go for Saturday. We're fortunate that, our jobs allow us to do that. So yeah, we're super excited. With that said, let's get into today's main topic, which is Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. The Polynesian is a deluxe resort, and it's located on the Seven Seas Lagoon, right across the water from Magic Kingdom, sandwiched right between the Transportation and Ticket Center, or TTC for short, and the Grand Floridian Resort. This resort is large, but not overly so. Like, it definitely doesn't feel big and like not as big as Caribbean Beach. And I feel like we always pick on Caribbean Beach, but it is a big resort. In terms of theming, it's in the name, right? So it definitely has like South Pacific Island theming with plenty of like palm trees, lush greenery, like all around the buildings, and tiki torches that line the walkways in the evening, and tiki statues and like the different locations in the lobby and whatnot, including like a big one right in the middle of the main lobby. This definitely has the feel of a vacation resort. And what we mean by that is that, the theming at the resort makes you feel like you're in a tropical destination like Hawaii, right? So it definitely gives off like major vacation vibes.
Yes, I agree. The color palette here is a bit dark, but to be fair, the resort has been around since Walt Disney World first opened back in 1971. It received several updates since that time, but the original look and feel of the resort still remains to this day. The lobby is named the Great Ceremonial House. It has dark exposed wood and dark colored tile flooring that looks like large rocks that were cut flat. The rest of the lobby has pops of color with accents like rugs, furniture, and beautiful multicolored suspended lanterns. It has 2 stories. The ground floor is the check-in desk, and usually when you arrive to check in, the cast members will be waiting with lei necklaces, and we'll put these around your neck, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a nice touch for sure.
Yeah, and the boutique, which is the main merchandise location on property, is also located here. You're going to find apparel, souvenirs, and then some essentials as well, like milk, bread, spreads, among other items. Outside the back doors on the ground floor shoots you out right next to the lava pool and the resort buildings that house the guest rooms. The second floor kind of does this loop around because the center of the lobby is wide open. Up there is where you're going to actually catch the resort monorail and many of the resort dining options, including the massively popular Ohana.
Yeah, exactly. And the resort buildings that house the guest rooms here, they're like a dark brown color, right? And they're like longer than they are wide, if you can picture that. And each one has a balcony that overlooks the resort, the pools, or the lagoon, depending on what building you're in and what like room category you book. The guest rooms are split into 11 buildings, and some of these are dedicated DVC Deluxe Studio villas, and the others are standard guest rooms. When you're facing the front of the resort, the buildings that are furthest to the right, so the ones that are going to be the closest to TTC, are Morea and Pago Pago. The Morea building runs parallel to Seven Seas Lagoon, so the villas on the water side all have lagoon views, which are amazing because you can actually watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks from your balcony, which obviously is a huge plus. Pago Pago is behind that building, so it's close to the TTC. It's like literally less than a 5-minute walk from there, but it doesn't have lagoon view rooms, so something to consider there. Tokelau runs parallel with the Oasis pool, which is the quiet pool on property. This building is closest to Moorea and Pago Pago, but it forms a kind of square around the pool with the other nearby buildings. Some of the Tokelau rooms closest to the lagoon are actually going to have lagoon views and like fireworks views, but they're kind of like partial because you're not like full on head on. The building is off to the side. And then these 3 buildings make up the DVC Deluxe Studio Villas on property.
So the rest of the buildings are where the non-DVC guest rooms are located. Perpendicular to Tokelau on the lagoon side is the Hawaii building. Many of the rooms here have lagoon views, and there are also club level rooms here. Across the pool from Tokelau is Samoa. Half of this building overlooks the Oasis pool, while the other half overlooks the lava pool, which is the flagship pool at the Poly. Right next to Samoa, oriented in the same way, is Niu. This building is much smaller than the surrounding buildings, but the location is awesome because you are steps from the Oasis pool and really close to the lava pool and the Great Ceremonial House, which is the name of the main lobby at the Poly. Perpendicular to Tokelau on the other side and to Samoa is Rarotonga. This kind of closes this loose square around Oasis Pool. The building is furthest from the lagoon and closest to the parking lot and then the front of the resort. It is really close to the lobby and the bus station, so it does have that going for it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's, it's not a bad location because, you're really close to the lobby, which, it has all the dining. It's close to the bus stop and it's just upstairs to the monorail.
Yes.
And again, like it's relative because none of these buildings are super far apart, but
so true. Yeah.
Just something to consider there. And then on the other side of the Great Ceremonial House, so the side that's furthest away from TTC and closest to the new Island Tower and the Grand Floridian Resort is Tonga. This is actually attached to the Great Ceremonial House. And this is where you're going to find more of those club level guest rooms because obviously the convenience of being attached to the main lobby, right? Right next to Tonga is Aotearoa. I apologize if I'm butchering that. This runs parallel to the monorail, but the great thing about that is that it's now super close to the Cove Pool and Moana's Voyage Splash Zone, which are both new at the Island Tower. Perpendicular to that is Fiji, which faces the Cove Pool and the Splash Zone on one side, and then the Great Ceremonial House on the other. And perpendicular to that and right on the lagoon is Tuvalu, which has great views of Magic Kingdom on the other side of the water.
Right next to these buildings is the brand new Island Tower, which is a DVC tower that just opened its doors a few months ago in December of 2024. We talked about this last week when we mentioned the Grand Destino Tower at Coronado Springs. When that tower was built, many fans weren't happy because they felt that it didn't go with the existing theme and vibes at that resort. And the Island Tower at the Polynesian has had a similar reception. A lot of folks aren't happy to have this tower go up. We don't fall in that camp. The tower is different from the existing building and the theming at the Poly. Yes, of course, there's no denying that, but it's gorgeous. We haven't stayed there yet, but Oliver actually went and walked around the lobby when he was there on his solo trip. So he saw the pools and he ate at the Walulu Bar and Grill in the lobby as well. And he said it was very nice there.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful in there. Like it's very modern looking and yeah, for sure. It would be a super nice day there.
Yeah. The lobby is bright with light-colored natural wood colors and pops of color and subtle Moana touches. There are large pillars in the lobby as well, each representing earth, water, fire, and wind. It's not a super big lobby, but really most of the DVC buildings aren't. So that's not really a departure from the other DVC buildings that have gone up historically. What's great about this tower is that it's added different room categories to the DVC lineup at the resort. Up until recently, you only had deluxe studio villas available or the ultra point heavy and expensive Bora Bora bungalows over on the lagoon.
Yeah, exactly, which leads us to the last buildings, right? So the Bora Bora bungalows are also DVC guest rooms. They're extremely expensive. And if you're a DVC member, they cost a lot of points, right? There's 20 of these and each bungalow is over the lagoon. So you can imagine if you're picturing the Bora Bora like bungalows, like in the ones that are actually in Bora Bora, like movies like Couples Retreat, right? It's exactly that. These have 2 bedrooms, a massive master bathroom, a living room, a full kitchen, a washer, and dryer. The balcony overlooks the lagoon and Magic Kingdom, obviously in the distance, and features a small plunge pool. We've never stayed here, and not to say that we wouldn't, but it is a lot of money, so we're not likely to ever stay here. But like many of you, we've looked at photos, right, and videos, and one can dream, right?
Absolutely. So in terms of room categories for the rest of the buildings, the building you are in will determine the type of rooms that are available. The DVC buildings that we mentioned earlier all have deluxe studio rooms. What will change, of course, is the view. These buildings are Pago Pago, Tokelau, and Moorea. These rooms offer a queen bed, a pull-down Murphy queen bed, and a 5th sleeper in the TV stand that is big enough for a young child. They also feature a kitchenette and 2 bathrooms, one with a tub and then the other with a sink and shower. This is absolutely amazing for a family of 4 or 5 because you can have 2 people getting ready at the same time or getting cleaned up in the evening after a long park day. We stayed in the Tokelau Deluxe Studios with the kids in April of 2023, and it was perfect for that.
We love the 2 bathrooms.
We did. Yep. We really appreciated having both spaces. The rooms have dark colored wood accents and furnitures, and then bright pops of color like aqua blue that add some life. They are definitely on the darker side and aren't as nice as the standard non-DVC guest rooms in terms of decor and finishing, but they are nice nonetheless. We wouldn't hesitate to stay here again. That's for sure.
We did love our stay here.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, for sure. And the kids did too.
Yeah.
And then the Island Tower added more room categories like Lucy was saying, right, for the DVC rooms on resort, which is great. So in the tower, you're going to find duo studios, and these rooms sleep 2. And this is very similar to what they did over in California for their duo studios over there. Yeah. And then they have deluxe studios that sleep 5 and villas that sleep up to 9 guests. So the duo studios have a queen pull-down bed that double as a couch when it's up, and then a full bathroom and a kitchenette with a mini fridge and a microwave and a porch or balcony. Like the bed pulls down, right? So it is a much smaller space, but again, it's designed for 2 people, like, think a couple or something. So it's really great for that. The deluxe studios in the tower have a queen bed and a second pull-down queen bed, a kitchenette with a small fridge and a dishwasher, a full bathroom, and a porch or balcony. The 1-bedroom villas, right, this is where you start to have significantly more space. So they have 1 king bed, 1 queen pull-down, and a single pull-down bed. These sleep up to 5. They have 2 full bathrooms, a full kitchen, living and dining room areas, a washer and dryer, and a private deck, right? So yeah, you're getting a lot for your points or your money here. The 2-bedroom villas have 1 king bed, 2 queen beds, 1 queen size pull down, and a single pull down, right? These suites sleep up to 9. It also has 3 full bathrooms, a full kitchen, spacious living and dining rooms, a washer and dryer, and a large private deck. And lastly, they have 2-bedroom penthouse villas with 1 king and 2 queens, 1 queen pull down, no single here, so it sleeps up to 8. And then it also has 3 bathrooms, the kitchen, the living and dining rooms, washer and dryer, and what Disney calls an extra large deck. Okay, so I don't know what this deck looks like, but I assumed it's big. Yeah. And then these range from pretty expensive to like astronomically never going to happen for us expensive, right? The tower is brand new, like we said, and the rooms look great and have modern touches as well. The flooring is a kind of a light wood color, similar to what you've probably seen in other recently refurbed rooms. And we should mention that every DVC room that we've mentioned so far can be booked by regular guests. So you don't actually have to be a DVC member to stay in a studio, villa, or bungalow. You can, book that direct through Disney.
Next up is the non-DVC rooms. We find that these rooms have more in common with the new Island Tower rooms than the existing deluxe studios. These have natural wood-colored floors, pops of blue and pink in the soft goods like the beds and curtains, and Moana-themed wallpaper and wall art. The bathrooms look super sleek, modern, and clean, and we really love the look of these rooms overall. They have a bunch of room categories as well. The theme park view and water view rooms have 2 queens and 1 day bed and sleep up to 5. They also feature a drink cooler, a coffee and tea station, and a patio balcony. The resort view rooms feature 1 king bed and a day bed or 2 queen beds and also sleep up to 5 and feature the same cooler, coffee station, and patio or balcony. These 3 categories also have club level rooms that give you access to the Kamehameha Club. They also have 1-bedroom suites with 2 queens and a day bed. These feature a separate seating area. The Ambassador VIP suite features 1 king bed, 2 queens, and a queen-sized sleeper sofa. The King Kamehameha suite also has 1 king, 2 queens, and a queen-size sleeper sofa and can sleep up to 8. And lastly, the honeymoon rooms, which feature 1 king bed and a large footprint with more space. Standard guest rooms start around $800 a night and, of course, only go up from there.
Yeah, and there's just no denying it, right? It's a splurge to stay here, right? And for many families, it's just not accessible. When you're talking $800 US a night, especially if you're coming from, Canada, for example, where the exchange rate is not great, like you're talking like well over $1,000 a night. So yeah, that's steep. But one thing that can make it a little more affordable and, it may make sense for more families is to rent DVC points. So reputable companies like David's DVC Rental matches DVC owners who can't or won't use their points for that use year with guests who are looking to stay at DVC properties for cheaper than rack rate through Disney, right? We used David's to book our deluxe studio back in 2023, and it was a great experience. And we would certainly recommend that to anyone looking to save a bit of money to a lot of money because we saved a lot of money. We
saved a lot. We would never have stayed in those kinds of rooms.
No, I wouldn't
otherwise.
have paid those prices for sure. But with the DVC rental, it was definitely more affordable. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, that's enough about the rooms. That was a little dry, so I apologize for that. But let's get into the food. And there's some of the best dining at any of the Disney resort here. Okay, so first up, and this should come as no surprise, is Ohana, right? So this is the resort's worst kept secret. And really, it's not a secret at all
No.
because it's like hugely popular, right? The restaurant is located on the second floor, just to the left of where you would exit the doors to go and catch the monorail. So that's like literally where it is. The restaurant has dark wood floors, tiki statues, complete with a ukulele musician that, you know, also sings, which
He
is
does,
always,
and he's great.
yeah. And like, it's always, I'm assuming different people, but yeah.
It seems like it's the same guy, but they have the same voice, I guess.
Yeah. Or
Similar.
Similar.
Yes.
Like
Similar style.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, there's plenty of tables here that surround the grilling station in the middle of the restaurant. There really is a lot of seating in the restaurant.
Tons of
It's a
seating,
big
yeah.
restaurant, right? And then the back of the restaurant has windows that overlook the Seven Seas Lagoon. And from certain tables, you certainly can see the peaks of Cinderella Castle. And you can also catch the fireworks if you're timing your reservation right.
There are 2 dining experiences here. The first is Best Friends featuring Lilo and Stitch. This is an all-you-care-to-enjoy menu of standard breakfast fare like eggs, potatoes, waffles, fresh fruit, among other items.
Yep.
But the dinner menu is where this restaurant really shines.
We love the dinner menu here.
Like, we cannot say enough about this.
Yeah.
This is also an all-you-care-to-enjoy served family style. They'll bring you a mixed green salad with citrus vinaigrette and the signature ohana bread with honey butter, which is absolutely
It's always
delicious.
warm. It's always delicious.
Delicious,
Yeah.
absolutely. Then they bring you the honey coriander chicken wings, pork dumplings tossed in chili sauce, broccolini, and the famous ohana noodles. These are super simple, but really, really good.
Just
so delicious.
Yeah, really, really well done. So
Yeah.
that all comes in kind of like a
skillet.
A skillet
Yeah.
plate. Yeah, exactly. And they'll bring you more of
Yep.
everything if you want it. Yeah.
So after that, they're going to bring you a skillet of meats, which is wood-fired black pepper marin teriyaki beef, peel and eat shrimp with ohana seasoning, and grilled chicken with guava pineapple glaze. And last, but certainly not least, the pièce de résistance is the ohana bread pudding with vanilla ice cream and their famous homemade caramel sauce.
Yeah.
It's delicious. Definitely one of our favorite sweet treats on property.
No, for sure. And it comes like the caramel sauce comes in like a little pouring cup,
Yes.
kind of like
Yes.
what you would put like cream in for your coffee.
Exactly.
And then you can kind of like fancy pour
as much
it
as
over.
you want, you might as well pour it all on and indulge.
And we
It's-
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
do every
definitely
single
do. Yeah.
time. This dinner is no joke. It's a lot of food, so definitely come hungry.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing we will say is that if you do have picky eaters,
Yes.
they can bring you like hot dogs, mac and cheese, and fries upon request, right? So don't be afraid to ask, essentially. And another thing we'll quickly mention as well is that it's really hard to get reservations here. This is definitely one you're going to want to prioritize, like at 60 days out when your advanced dining reservation window opens.
So true.
Because it's a super competitive reservation.
It really is.
Sometimes you might get lucky with a last minute one, but
Yeah.
if it's important to you, definitely 60 days out, you should be looking for
I
that.
agree.
Yeah. And then right next to the entrance to Ohana is the Tambu Lounge. It's really like attached because it's literally right next to it. So this place actually has like pretty limited seating. You have stool seating around the bar and then just a few tables and chairs off to the side, but like really just a few. We're talking like less than 8.
Yes.
And then starting at 4 p.m. Until usually about 10 p.m., you can order appetizers to go with your cocktail. On the menu, they have a few options, including some of the menu items that you're going to find at Ohana. So you're going to find California roll, marinated pork ribs, and then the pot stickers, honey coriander wings, and the peel and eat shrimp from Ohana. Now, okay, not featured on the menu are the Ohana noodles and the bread pudding, but often, if not pretty much all the time, if you ask nicely, they will bring these to you as well, okay? So the best part is that's all a la carte. So you don't actually have to pay for the whole meal, just the items you really want most. So this is a good way to get a taste if, you weren't able to get a reservation, but you still want that Ohana food.
And honestly, the pot stickers, the wings, the shrimp, and the noodles are probably my favorite things. So like the fact that I could get all of those there, it's very appealing.
If I could have a meal of noodles and the bread pudding,
You'd be a
it would
happy
be carb
guy,
heavy,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
I'd be
who
happy.
cares?
Yep.
On the other side of the exit to the resort monorail station, still on the second floor, is Kona Cafe. This is another table service that doesn't nearly get the same amount of attention as Ohana, but it is a very good restaurant nonetheless. It recently got a refurb and it actually looks really good in here. The space features natural colored woods and beautiful and colorful wood-carved wall art and a mural on the ceiling with waves and leaves. It's very nice in there. It serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The breakfast options have your standard fare, but they also have the hugely popular Tonga toast, which is banana-stuffed sourdough French toast, coated in cinnamon sugar and served with strawberry compote and your choice of meat. It's very popular.
Yeah.
For lunch and dinner, they have a wide and varied menu of sushi rolls, poke bowls, burgers and sandwiches, chicken, steak, short rib, among many, many other options. We actually ate here with our kids during our stay in 2023, and we actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. I had a sushi roll that had
That's
raw
right.
fish on top, which I didn't realize until it came out. Like I didn't realize that when I ordered it.
I wish I would have captured his face when he first saw it, because he was like, oh no, what have I ordered?
But I loved it. I ate the
You
whole
did.
thing. It was really, really good, really
Yeah.
fresh. Yeah. And then just to the left of Kona Cafe is Kona Island, which is right next to the exit to the monorail station. So, well, I guess the entrance and the exit. Yeah. And this is essentially just a grab and go option, right? So think like coffees, pastries, and sushi rolls to go. It opens nice and early at 6:30, so it's a great place to grab a coffee on your way out to the parks for the day. Now, down on the ground floor, just off the main lobby area, is Captain Cook's. So this is the main quick service location at the resort. So there's a decent amount of seating here, both indoor and outdoor, which is nice. And it's typically open from 7 a.m. all the way to midnight. The menu has some like classic options. So things like, for breakfast, like egg breakfast with your choice of meat and potatoes, classic Mickey waffles. And you can also get actually the Tonga toast here as well, which is a pro tip, but it doesn't come with the strawberry compote here, but you do get your choice of meat. So similar thing, but less expensive. And then for lunch and dinner, they have your standard quick service options, right? So think like hamburgers, chicken tenders, and all that. But they also have the pulled pork nachos, which are really, really popular and very tasty. And they also have options like spicy Korean chicken bowls, the Aloha pork sandwich, pan Asian noodles, and vegetables, among many, many other options.
And then not far from Captain Cook's, immediately on your left when you come out of the back doors, is Pineapple Lanai. And this is where you can get your Dole Whip fix. They sell Dole Whip, vanilla soft serve, and they also do a pineapple float or a spiked float with rum. Small but mighty menu. We've stopped here many times for a Dole Whip.
Yeah, we have a good picture of the kids enjoying a
We
swirl
do,
here.
yeah. So out by the lava pool, you have the Barefoot Pool Bar. They have a selection of small plates like fruit and cheese, salads, chicken wings, as well as a burger, a chicken sandwich, a grilled chicken avocado wrap, and fish tacos. They also have beer and specialty cocktails, as well as some kid-friendly drinks and Joffrey's cold brew. It's actually a really decent spot to just grab a quick bite to eat or to drink when you're sitting down by the pool. Although you do also have Captain Cook's and Pineapple Lanai nearby, so you are definitely not lacking in options.
No, for sure. Yep.
And then over by the Oasis pool, you have the Oasis Bar and Grill, which also has a very similar menu of eats and drinks.
Yep. And next up, you have Trader Sam's Grog Grotto. So this is an awesome lounge just down the hallway off the main lobby. The entrance is actually really subtle.
It's so subtle.
And if you don't know it's there, you might miss it altogether.
You honestly think it's like a janitor's closet almost.
Yeah, but this place is like wildly popular, right? Make no mistake. It's a highly themed lounge and it has a ton of like prop artifacts. There's a window inside the lounge, right, that shows a volcano. And then there's like a large octopus on the ceiling as well. And you can kind of see its tentacles sticking out. It's wild in there, okay? Definitely worth going in for a drink. It's really hard to get a table here though. So the place actually opens at 3 p.m. and guests will get in line just to get their name on the list like right at 3 p.m., right? So if you want to go there, you should go early. And if you're not going early, just be prepared to like when you get your name on the walk-up wait list, you might be waiting like an hour, 2 hours. I think we waited over an hour when we went in there. Yeah. But when you are able to get in there, right, you're going to be seated with other parties, not unlike the situation over at Oga's Cantina and Hollywood Studios, right? So depending on what you order, you're going to get different reactions from the bar itself or from cast members, which is really fun. We don't want to give too much away, but again, it's super fun in here and we definitely recommend it. The menu features a ton of really fun themed drinks and some come with souvenir glasses, which is nice. They also have a handful of light bites as well. Now, something to keep in mind here is if you can't get a seat inside, there's also Trader Sam's Tiki Terrace, which is just outside, right? But it's definitely like more fun to sit like inside the
Absolutely.
lounge. Yeah.
And I do believe you can bring kids into here until a certain time.
8
Because
o'clock.
because we got in there just before 8 and there was a little family with little dudes, but they left soon after that.
Yeah, after 8 p.m., it's 21 and over. Yeah.
And last but not least is the Wailulu Bar and Grill. This is the new location in the lobby of the Island Tower. The inside of the restaurant is nice and modern, but has natural wood colors and pops of color too. The outside of the bar is where you want to sit. It's a nice open air space with great views of the Seven Seas Lagoon, Magic Kingdom, and the fireworks if you can time it right. It currently doesn't take advanced dining reservations. They only have a walk-up wait list. They have a good selection of appetizers like the ahi tuna crisps, sticky pork ribs, garlic shrimp, crispy chicken wings, among other options. And then for entrees, they have bowls, short ribs, fish, the Wayfinder burger, chow mein, among a few other options. For dessert, they have the Dole Whip sundae with hibiscus meringue, macerated pineapple, and berries.
Yeah, I tried this when I ate there in January, and it was really, really good and really, really pretty. So I actually took a photo of it.
Yes, I remember the picture. That's right.
So I liked it here, and I would definitely, I would take you there and the kids, and I think everyone would enjoy it. Yeah, for sure. Now, is that enough food for you? So again, this is another resort, right, with some really stellar dining options. And you know what? We often come here just to eat at Ohana, right? Or to grab some Dole Whips from Pineapple and I. We like visiting the monorail resorts when we're at Magic Kingdom, even when we're not staying at one of those resorts, just to, get out of the parks for a little bit and just, catch some different scenery. Now, next up, let's talk pools and recreation. So we've referenced it a couple of times already, but the main pool here is the lava pool, and it's just outside the back doors of the main lobby. It features a large 142-foot water slide and a zero-depth entry pool, which the kids loved, right?
Oh, they had so much fun.
They swam like a ton in here when we stayed in 2023. It's a really, really nice pool area. And then for more quiet vibes, not far in the center of Tokelau, Hawaii, Rarotonga, and Samoa, like we were saying earlier, right, is the Oasis pool, which is the quiet pool at the resort.
And then over at the new Island Tower, you've got the Cove Pool, which is a relaxed pool as well with a zero-depth entry. And then right next to it is Moana's Voyage, which is a splash area featuring life-size sculptures of Moana and her canoe. You also have movies under the stars every night, as well as campfire activities. The beach at the Poly gives fantastic fireworks views. This is the perfect place to grab a snack and watch the show, and then they'll even pipe in the music as well, so it's definitely worth checking them out from here. So being that it's on the Seven Seas Lagoon, you also get to see the electrical water pageant every evening. This is essentially a floating parade of illuminated barges, and then it plays music as well. We had completely forgotten about this, so when we first heard it, when we were staying there, we were like, oh my gosh, what is that sound? So it took us a second to catch on.
And to realize what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Then there's also motorized boat rentals, fishing, a sand volleyball court, and a mile-long running trail that connects to the Grand Floridian. They also have paid activities like making your own kukui nut lei, which is a rock necklace essentially. You can paint a ceramic pineapple, make a Mickey tie-dye t-shirt. These activities rotate, so it's best to check in with cast members in the lobby when you check in to see what's available during your stay.
Yeah, exactly. And then over at the Island Tower, you also have the terrace gardens, which are themed and pay homage to the islands of Bora Bora, Hawaii, Samoa, and Fiji. Okay, so you're going to get great views of the surrounding areas here, including the lagoon and fireworks. I didn't see these because I wasn't staying there, but I've heard and I've seen photos and they look beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, next up is location and transportation, right? So as you know, the Poly sits right on Seven Seas Lagoon, pretty much directly across the water from Magic Kingdom, right? It's walking distance to both the TTC and the Grand Floridian, and you can actually walk from the Polynesian all the way to the Magic Kingdom, right? It's a good long walk, like probably a good, I'd say close to 25, 30 minutes, right? Depending if, how quickly you walk. We actually tried this a couple of trips ago when the Island Tower was under construction and we couldn't get through, right? But that walkway is now done and you can do that walk again. Yeah. So if that interests you, you certainly can do that.
So the main mode of transportation at this resort is the monorail. So there's a couple of ways to take the monorail from the Polynesian. The first and most obvious route is the resort loop that picks you up on the second floor of the resort. This loop goes one way only and it has 5 stops and travels clockwise. From the Polynesian, it goes to the Grand Floridian, then Magic Kingdom, then continues on to the Contemporary, and lastly the TTC before looping back to the Poly, and then round and round she goes. The thing about this monorail is that in the morning, it's going to start running about 90 minutes or so before early entry. So if the park opens at 9, early entry will be 8:30. So the resort monorail will start running around 7. So if you get on that first one, you're actually going to loop around and not stop at Magic Kingdom until 7:30. So the trick is to be on the last monorail to pick up at the resort before 7:30. So if you ask cast members at the monorail station, it'll make sense. We promise. At the end of the day, you're still going to get there, but if you're first to be let off, you'll be right near at the front of the touch points first thing in the morning. Outside of that, for the rest of the day, ride it as often as you please. It'll run for at least an hour after park closes. Yeah. Our kids think it's a ride in itself. They love it.
Oh, I think it's a ride in itself too. I love to ride it. Yeah. And then the second place to grab the monorail is at the TTC, right? So the TTC has 3 lines going through. They have the express line between TTC and Magic Kingdom, the resorts loop that we were just talking about, right? And then the line to Epcot. First thing in the morning, if you're going to Epcot, we suggest walking to the TTC and waiting there for the Epcot line, right? It's a much more efficient way than actually taking the resorts loop, and then, to walk off and then walk back up to the Epcot line because you still have to transfer to the Epcot line regardless. Okay. It's going to start running over an hour before early entry, right? So when Epcot opens at 9 and early entry is 8:30, it'll get you there for 7:30, right? So in plenty of time. The Epcot line is also going to run after park close to get you back to the TTC, right? And actually the Disney website says that it runs up to 2 hours after park close, right? So you have a nice big window there to get back home. And the express line is a nonstop back and forth between TTC and Magic Kingdom all day long.
Yeah, and for Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, and Disney Springs, it's bus transportation. There's only one bus stop here, just to the left of the front entrance at the Great Ceremonial House. When we stayed here, we didn't find the lines bad whatsoever, and we actually had no issues getting on the bus. What we will note is that during less busy times during the day, it sometimes shares a bus with the Grand Floridian to bring you back to your resort midday when people are trickling back here and there. So during peak times, though, they will each have their own buses, so no need to worry about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Exactly. So with all that said, let's quickly cover some of the pros and cons of the resort, right? So pros are pretty obvious, right? It's super close to Magic Kingdom. You have monorail access to both Magic Kingdom and Epcot, which is pretty nice. And the ability to walk to Magic Kingdom is even nicer, right? If you want to do that. And then it has some really solid dining options, right? Ohana is, popular for a good reason. It's good food there for sure and one of our personal favorites. And then the pool area is great, right? It has awesome vacation vibes. Plus, it is a deluxe resort, so guests staying here will qualify for extended evening hours. And, the ability to watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks from the beach at the Poly is also pretty
awesome. Yeah.
Now, cons, and there aren't many, obviously, because this is a pretty dreamy resort, right? But the most obvious is cost. Okay, so starting at around $800 a night, it's way out of reach for many families. And 2, proximity to Magic Kingdom is good but sometimes a bad thing. Okay, so hear us out. So the good, because obviously you're close, but Magic Kingdom is a little further away from everything else, right? So if you're staying at an Epcot area resort, for example, or like Coronado Springs, you're pretty close to the other 3 parks. So it really depends on what's important to you.
So we're going to leave you here with our final thoughts. We love this resort. It's a fan favorite for a reason. It's an opening day resort that opened with Magic Kingdom back in 1971, and it's kept its charm over the decades. We absolutely loved staying here. It was really nice to be close to Magic Kingdom when the kids were younger. Having the monorail go through the resort is perfect too. It's nice to just be able to hop on the monorail, go for a swim, and then head back into the park afterwards. We've said this a few times today, but Ohana is a must go to for us. So when we go on trips, just the 2 of us, we're always making reservations here. We love it. If it's in the budget, we would definitely recommend staying here. And like we said earlier, if it's not out of reach, you could look into renting DVC points, and it makes it a little bit more palatable for sure. Of the 3 monorail resorts, though, this is definitely our favorite one.
No, for sure. Yeah. Agreed 100%, right? Like, it's not that the others are bad. Grand Flow is super nice.
Upscale.
It's
got that
gorgeous, great dining as well.
Feel to it.
Yeah, definitely,
Clean.
right? It's just, I like the vacation vibes over at the Poly, and then Contemporary.
Yeah.
It feels a little sterile.
It does. Like, honestly, I've never been to Hawaii, but I've seen lots of videos, movies, and when you walk into Poly, you're like, ooh, I feel like I'm in Hawaii.
Yeah. I've never been, so I can't say for certain, but yeah.
I imagine that's what it's like.
I imagine that's what it feels like. Yeah, exactly. And the lobby, I know we've talked about this too, but the lobby there smells really good too.
It does.
So with that said, thank you for joining us today to talk Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And as always, if you could leave us a rating and review, it would be greatly appreciated. If you choose to do so, you can leave reviews right on Apple Podcasts. And for Spotify, you can leave a rating.
You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Let's Go.to-Disney, as well as on our Facebook page, Let's Go to Disney. We share some helpful reels here as well as some fun ones. The link tree in the show notes will take you to all of our socials.
Have a great day, and we'll see you real soon.